Welcome to Math Plus, where math makes sense. Multiplied decimals. In this video, we're going to learn how to actually multiply whole numbers and whole numbers with decimals. So there's really three simple steps to multiplying decimals. One, you multiply them just like whole numbers. You just ignore the decimals. Number two is you count the decimal places in the problem. And number three, you put the same number of places behind the decimal in the product. Remember, the product is the answer to a multiplication problem. Now, I have a little picture of a scoop because I'm going to use that to help you remember how to multiply decimals. And I'll show you on the next screen as we multiply a decimal. Here we have 6 5/10 times 3. So I'm going to put 6 5/10 times 3, and we are multiplying. So remember, the first step was just ignore the decimal and multiply. So treat this just like a normal multiplication problem. 3 times 5 is 15. I carry the 1. 3 times 6 is 18, plus 1 is 19. Okay. Now, step 2 was to count the decimal places in the problem. And if you look up here, there's only one. I'll call that a scoop. Okay, there's one decimal place because there's no decimal places in the 3. So that means I'm going to come down here, I'm going to put the decimal here, and I'm going to scoop it one time. So that's where my decimal goes. So then my final answer, it's almost easier to just rewrite it, is 19 5/10. So probably multiplying decimals is my favorite because you just literally ignore the decimals and then you scoop. However times you have to scoop in the problem, that's how many times you scoop in the answer. So let's try another one. Here we have 21 6/10 times 8/10. And again, our first step is to ignore the decimals and multiply. Now, I want to point something out. When we are adding fractions, the first thing we do is line up the decimal points and put the decimal point in the answer. You do not have to line up the decimal points when you multiply. It's just like if I was multiplying 216 times 8, I would put it here. You know what I mean? But you're going to multiply the 8 by every single one. So I just kind of wanted to point it out. This is not like addition, okay? It's not like addition. So now we're going to ignore the decimal points and just multiply. 8 times 6 is 48. Carry the 4. 8 times 1 is 8, plus 4 is 12. Carry the 1. 8 times 2 is 16, plus 1 is 17. Okay, so we multiplied like normal. Now we have to scoop and count the decimal places in the problem. Here's one scoop, and here's another scoop. So we have a total of 2 scoops. That means our answer, we're going to start here, and we're going to scoop twice. 1, 2, and that's where your decimal point will go. So when you write the final answer, it is 17 28/100. Very simple, very simple. So if you need to see a couple more examples, I'm going to do 2 more problems. Here's a money problem. Think about if you were buying, a bag of apples, and each one costs $10.32, and you're buying 12 bags. You would need to multiply that out. So you would write $10.32 times 12. And remember, the first thing we do is ignore the decimal and just multiply. 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times 3 is 6. 2 times 0 is 0. 2 times 1 is 2. Now I have to multiply every number by the 1. So I'm going to put a placeholder. Remember, when you multiply, you have to start in the tens place because the 1 is in the tens place. but I'm going to put a 0 there so my answer goes in the tens place. 1 times 2 is 2. 1 times 3 is 3. 1 times 0 is 0. And 1 times 1 is 1. Then we draw a line and we add. This is just our regular multiplication steps. And we get 4. 6 times plus 2 is 8. 0 plus 3 is 3. 2 plus 0 is 2. And 1. Now it's time to scoop. So if we go up here, we scoop 1, we scoop 2. We have 2 scoops. So in my answer, I'm going to start here and I'm going to scoop 1. I'm going to scoop 2. That's where my decimal point goes. So if I rewrite the answer, it would be $123.84. Again, multiply by like normal, ignore the decimal points, and then you scoop to figure out how many decimal places. So we're going to do one more example. So here we're going to multiply 49 hundredths times 36 hundredths. Okay, so here we go. 6 times 9 is 54. I'm going to carry the 5. 6 times 4 is 24. Plus 5 is 29. Carry the 2. 6 times 0 is 0. Plus 2 is 2. Now I'm going to put a 0 as my placeholder here. And I'm going to now multiply each of the numbers by the 3. 3 times 9 is 27. And I'm going to carry the 2. Whoops, I put that in the wrong place. Over here. 3 times 4 is 12, plus 2 is 14. Carry the 1. 3 times 0 is 0, plus 1 is 1. Now I draw my line, and I'm going to add. 4 plus 0 is 4. 9 plus 7 is 16. Carry the 1. 1 and 2 is 3, plus 4 is 7, and 1. Now it's time to scoop, my favorite part. Okay, let's look at what we have here. In the first number, we scoop 1, we scoop 2. In the second number, we scoop 1, we scoop 2. So that's a total of 4 scoops. So now in our answer, we got to start here and scoop 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's where my decimal goes. And I always say it's best if you just rewrite it. Decimal point 1764. And that's your answer. That's how you multiply with decimals.